Hey guys, sorry for the long silence. The last few weeks of August were the last few weeks of summer camp, and I had kind of just burned out. And now I've moved to Calgary. Before we get started, I want to make a note that I'm going to be doing weekly vlogs over at Tales of Life, which I'll put in the bar. So if you're curious about my actual life, that's where I'm going to be putting some stuff. No promises on quality, but I'm going to give it a go. Now that I'm out on my own and I'm trying to be an adult, hopefully I'll be better at sticking to somewhat of a schedule, getting these uploaded on time, and recorded, which will be easier now that I don't have dogs barking and people yelling. So now, welcome to a new series that I'm starting on this channel. I'm going to be doing Fandom Through the Ages, just like every before, but this is going to be something I do when I have video ideas that don't fit with the Fandom Through the Ages exploration of lore and mythology, but I think viewers of this would be interested in as well. They're going to be more personal opinions and personal stories than anything else. So the first sidetrack I'm going to wander down starts around the edges of something that has become rather sore ground for the game industry right now, and that's gender in games. Now, I'm not as well spoken as many people are on the subject, and I'm not going to touch on the subject in this video very much, other than to say that people who are shitty to other people on the internet are shitty people. If you want to read or learn more about the subject I'm touching on, I recommend you look into the works of the people that I'm about to show you on this chart that some people thoughtfully made so you know who is worth following, despite that being their intention. Poking at the internet beast that is the internet beast aside, I want to talk about why I, a cis heterosexual male, prefer to play many games as a female character. And just a warning to the wise, I come from the RTS or real-time strategy background of gaming, where you're playing as a king or a general or a god, commanding from above. So this whole discussion for me is about half of my gaming experience and will often miss very obvious games that I never played for some reason or the other. Now, the first solid memory I have of playing a game where I could choose my gender was Pokemon, but being that I was about 6 or 7 at the time, I went with male. And now the first game where I remember choosing my gender and picking a female character was World of Warcraft in about 2005, which was a long time ago. My first character, was a male dwarf hunter for the Alliance. Just about every character I made from that point afterward was a female. A female night elf, a female human, a female draenei, blood elf, undead. Now, of course, back then, I was 12 years old, and I'm sure if you had asked me why I made a female character, my answer was, it's fun to look at, I like the boobs, I like the butt. But I'm fairly certain that wasn't the only reason I picked them. And that trend has continued up through present day. And these games are the usual suspects, such as Dragon Age, Guild Wars, Diablo, Skyrim, World of Warcraft, to odd games that you wouldn't expect female character to really mean as much, like my XCOM team being mostly female, if I can swing it. Crusader Kings 2, where I play a queen over a king every time. Guns of Icarus Online, where my skyship captain is a woman. And I would love to play a female character in Titanfall, if it would let me. And by that I mean a customized female avatar, not the male-female default that you get. But that's going into why I think Titanfall has horrible character customization, and I actually don't like the game partially because of that, even though I love playing it. And there's others that I can't remember, as well as tabletop RPGs, where I tend to play a female character. Not Mass Effect, though. Mass Effect, I went with John Shepard, the default appearance Shepard, and why and how that matters I'm going to talk about in another video that I'm hopefully making soon. So the question becomes why? What is it about female characters that I'll play them in games that are scattershot across all genres, from first-person shooters to role-playing games and RPGs, from tabletop to video game? To be honest, I have no definite answer, but that's never stopped me before, so here we go. I can safely say I no longer do it because a digital butt of a pleasing but rather disproportionate female model of an elf, a woman, or an alien is something I need to enjoy or stare at for hours. Chainmail bikinis and thongs are no longer hot or cold. I mean, bikinis in Northrend or Skyrim, they're just annoying, if they were ever attractive in the first place. This is not to say I don't enjoy aspects of the female aesthetic, it's just not for sexual or quasi-sexual reasons. I tend to play rangers, hunters, and characters of speed and cunning, not rogues, but similar. And so often, female characters seem to fit that bill way better than male characters for me. It's the way the armor and the models are designed in games like Diablo that give the women a sleek, lethal feeling to them that suits my preferred playstyle. The best way I've been able to explain it is that male character models are bulky and blocky and all about power and front-facing aggression, which isn't quite my playstyle, while female characters are sleek, clean lines about intelligence and moving around targets or outthinking targets. In many games, this isn't just Diablo or the ones I've listed. It's those clean lines, that lack of bulk, that aesthetic of efficiency and grace that I really do admire from everything from female characters and RPGs and XCOM to warships and mechs and vehicles and military weaponry. The idea of the grace and the efficiency just seem to mean a lot to me. And another reason I prefer the female character in many games, I lay squarely at the feet of authors like Tamora Pierce and J.K. Rowling and so many others from my formative years and now who write and wrote strong women, clever women, dangerous women, intelligent women, and all combinations therein and beyond. I was one of those kids who found fantasy writing really early in my life that featured women as people, Tamora Pierce specifically, who were witty and sharp-tongued and not afraid, although they were socially punished at times, to cut the Prince Charming or the strong man down to size. And growing up as the kind of kid who wasn't scrawny, but I wasn't strong and built, and I had asthma, that intelligence and that wit was a huge draw. Because of that, in my own writing in tabletop RPGs or video games, if I want the baddest, scariest, most lethal, dangerous character, I think of a woman. If I want a tough, violent, brutish character, it's a man. Diablo especially helps with this, with the barbarian, the male barbarian. Now, I'm going to sidetrack here for just a second to promote the Cassandra Kresnov books by Joel Shepard, who are some of the amazing science fiction, military/SWAT kind of combat porn, and are filled with nothing but badass women, some of who are really my heroes, and they're just amazing characters who I've fallen in love with. Also, read everything from Tamora Pierce. Especially her Tortall books, set in that world, are some of my favorite books ever. But there are so many authors out there that I could pimp and recommend and suggest that I'm gonna stop now. The last reason that I really could come up with when I was writing this video out, I'm not going to go into huge depth here because I have a very well thought out, very well spoken or written video coming up that links with the Mass Effect comment I made earlier. But I am going to touch on it. Look at me. It's a little hard to tell with the light, but I'm not white, and I'm not really the male ideal physically. Sure, I'm a heterosexual cis male, and I grew up upper middle class near Seattle, Washington, so I never really suffered from severe racism or prejudice. But I was still different, and different especially from so many video game characters and characters I played as, that I think playing as a female character was so different from who I am and who I was shown to be, that it was easier for me in so many ways to get into the character. I could be the best, most lethal politician, the most crafty spy, or anything as a female character without worrying about either my self-image or the image the public was telling me. But any farther and I'm going to spill into the other video, so I'm going to cut it there. But I think, as a whole, that idea and the phenomenon of people playing female characters or male characters that are not the gender that they identify with, but preferring to play that gender, is just a function of self-expression. And for me, it was a way for me to move to separate ethnicity from gaming entirely. Thanks for watching. Probably the next video you're going to see is the video I've been referencing, but I promise we'll get back to mythology sooner than later.